So this session's about LXC improvements. We did a bunch of improvements to natting to LXC the last session. Oh, my brain's fried right now. So we did a bunch of improvements to LXC and natty, and we want to continue on that work. So, Serge, you had a list of improvements you want, right? They're in the blueprints?
Yes. Cases them in the Etherpad. And they're kind of sorted by the priorities that I know about now. I guess the main question is, for anyone in the session, is there anything not on that list that you'd want to add to that list?
Well, they're not necessarily related to the LXC tools, but some Libvirt stuff. So yeah, my brain's really fried right now.
So
sandboxing is also a big one. So not breaking out of the LXC container. That's a big one I heard about this week.
it's sandboxing.
So just to extend from that slightly, currently no one has confidence with the current LXC implementation that you can give root inside there. I've read some postings by Serge with ways you can try and harden it.
We can harden that.
Yeah, can we do that by default?
What do you mean by default?
As in, when you go to use LXC, is it already hardened?
I can't speak for where LXC is at there. I know we can harden it.
Yeah, so I know there was two ways Serge was talking about doing it. Is there any reason we can't do that with our default LXC experience, Serge? Have I scared you, Serge?
Yes.
Serge?
I couldn't get, there was a question for me, I couldn't hear it.
Sorry.
Couldn't understand it.
Sorry, so we talked about hardening LXC, didn't we? And currently we don't have confidence that you can't break out of it. Sorry, say again.
We don't have confidence in what?
That you can't, that if you were to give root to someone with using LXC as a container, that the person can't break out of it.
It's not having confidence. It's more like expecting user accounts to work in Windows 3.1. It's not going to happen. There's quite a bit of work to be done yet before we can get the separating out in the container. It's not being.
Yeah.
So Serge, it's not quite as bad as, well, it depends on where you want to go with it. I mean, right now there are things we can do right now, at least in Ubuntu, not generic LXC. So I don't know. We could talk about it. From one end, we could do some AppArmor stuff with LXC. We already got that on our own agenda for integration. In general, we want LSM integration, but there is stuff we already can do with AppArmor and LXC to limit that.
And these are things you've thought about and thought through?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to have this was John, right? I'd like to have a talk with you some other time about that then.
Right. And it's one of the things we kind of have on our to-do list for this cycle too, so to better integrate.
Cool.
I did put down the note about it on the Etherpad.
Okay, cool.
And that's one way we can go about hardening. That's not the only way we necessarily want as an LXC project to do that, but that's one potential way to harden it, at least for Ubuntu.
we have Etherpad up?
So, from how many have you used? How many of you in the room have used LXC? Is there any features you want to see possibly in oneiric or down the road, or?
Security is a big one. It would be nice to see some. It's a basic file Etherpad. It would be nice to see some Libvirt, being able to see LXC compared to our LXC command lines, but it's a little bit minor. I've seen some people use GR security. I know it's a big out of band kernel patch, but it has a lot of hardening functionality for those cheaters. The better out of the box experience is working great.
Okay.
Can you repeat that? So
well, most of it's there, the original thoughts at the bottom. But besides that, just having a nice out-of-the-box experience that just works. I know places that burn on desktop is like not having to set up all the bridge and DNS masking stuff.
Right.
The burn sort of automates a lot of that for you. And having it so that you can use some of the LXC command line tools to create things and then go back to Libvirt for the Libvirt integration with networking would be nice.
I've not used it, but I thought I saw patches going in for LXC 7.
There's LXC Libvirt integration seems to be active development the last few months.
It's not there yet, but it's getting there. Previously, in for Natty, you couldn't get a console, and that was fixed, so we could actually test OpenStack with it. But it still needs a long way to go.
Well, we searched it's blocking on here right now, but I'll get to it on Tuesday. The merge with Audit 9.0 Libvirt coming in, so I don't know if that has.
It's probably got a ton of LXC fixes as well.
Is Libvirt still doing its own kind of LXC, or is it using now the LXC command lines and libraries and
It's
stuff?
still doing its own thing. I know Serge has talked in the past that he wants to rewrite the Libvirt driver. Do we have any of the LXC upstream? Are you LXC upstream?
Yeah.
I know you guys don't like, I've heard in the past that you guys don't like using the Libvirt driver. Is there any reason why, or?
At the beginning we start to create standalone Linux containers and then write a driver for the Libvirt.
Okay.
So that was not done in this way, and it's a pity because if we have a driver for the Libvirt using the LXC tools,
Okay.
we can see them. We can interact the Libvirt with the LXC tools, but as they are different, there's a problem with the interaction between the Libvirt and the Linux tools.
So rewrite using the upstream LXC tools would be a really good thing. It would be easier to maintain.
Also, I'd like to see some improvement with the use of the LXC tools. When I was working the LXC container support for OpenStack, I tried to use some of the tools, and some of the tools didn't work for what I needed them to do. Like basically display running containers and not running containers. I almost had to work around it like a shell script that basically had query CPU groups.
So, Colin has asked a question that he's not hearing any response to. How valuable would integration of the LXC tools with Libvirt support be to people?
Yes.
Very.
Okay. I'm not sure how much he's catching up the audio.
Can you say more about why? I mean, in what way is it important?
It's just easier to maintain an OpenStack.
Okay, so you would think it would be worth the time to write a Libvirt driver to go through the LXC tools?
Yes. And hopefully Upstream can work with us.
Is it important enough that the people who think it's that important would be willing to spend time writing it?
Could be.
Well, Libvirt doesn't buy you anything for just one user. Libvirt buys you something when lots of users use it and they just know how to use it, right? I mean, if it's just OpenStack, there's no point in doing it. But the idea of Libvirt in general is that lots of people will use this, and it provides a layer of abstraction.
Right, it's just that at the moment, with some trivial scripts and hacks, you can basically create your container with the LXC tools and then convert it into a Libvirt one. And that requires a lot less initial work and maintenance than having a driver and strife with the Libvirt community for having your own driver. So that's why I want to make sure that there are specific things you want to do beyond just creating the container with the LXC tools and then defining the XML for Libvirt driver that just happens to use that container.
Great.
Because we can write the wrappers pretty easily. The driver is going to be more work and there might be pushback.
Okay. Well, I used the Libvirt containers at the time because it was the easiest thing to do. But I could consider looking at using using Libvirt drivers for OpenStack. So.
Are you saying you're going to do Libvirt either way for LXC, whether they choose to kind of support it or not? Is that
I'd have to look at it.
I didn't hear or understand or some, I don't know. What's the deficiency with the LXC driver and Libvirt?
It's still pretty young. It doesn't get so much, probably doesn't get as much attention as it should. Also, it's had problems in the past as well.
Well, I mean, can't we fix that and improve what's there since it's already in there?
Yeah, we've been doing that as well.
Sure. I mean, rather than rewriting something to model another tool, we can just fix what's already there to do what we need it to do for, I don't know, I mean, it's just, I'll just put that up there.
There is also a limited number of configurations for the Libvirt.
Sure. Well, yeah, that's always
You can just you can choose one kind of network configuration, and the LXC tools has more network configuration. You can use malware, you can use a physical interface, you can use the PVTH bridge, but it's a bit more tunable than the Libvirt.
Sure. I imagine there's a lot you could do with the XML in Libvirt, either extending it or utilizing what's been done with other definitions. I don't know if it's worth it. I haven't looked at it, but you can do quite a bit with different interfaces and networking. But absolutely, you're getting a subset. That's always KVM's objection for a while, or QEMU is that you don't expose everything.
Do we have a list of things the Libvirt drivers miss?
Not off the top of my head. That's probably an action item to do.
I mean, is there somewhere you came across that blog or something like that?
I'd have to look at it first.
Did you actually encounter missing things, or are you just aware of it?
I'm just aware. I'm just aware of the deficiencies in the past and what was done to fix them.
Yeah, that'd be good to mention. I might know what it is. is with this.
This is probably completely obvious, but if you're using Libvirt, you can go from, I mean, you have an interface that people understand, and they can start using containers over here, or they can use KVM over there, or Zen over here, and that's very attractive. Not to mention it would reduce maintenance.
Well, also it's our chosen abstraction layer as well. As you say, reinventing that is odd.
Commenting on IRC.
I will use for reference.
Maybe. So there's been a lot of resistance to some of these patches, and we need to break it down and iterate on getting things upstream and what's acceptable upstream. And so OpenVZ has done some of that in work in the past in their own patches, but it needs to be broken out. So maybe we can use some of the code that they've used in the past. That just has to be looked at. Correct. Serge is right. Very little that's OpenVZ. LXC doesn't look a whole lot like what OpenVZ did in the code.
I talked with the OpenVZ guy, and it's probable they will participate again,
Right.
contribute, and add the missing bits for the containers.
Yeah, it's possible.
It's possible in a few months. And the plan they had when we talked together was to take, as the LXC tools are in the mainstream, is to take some of the features that they have in OpenVZ and move them into the LXC user space.
Okay.
So this is the plan they have, and I talked with them.
Sounds good.
So, is there anything else you want to bring up, Serge?
No, I mostly want to get the feedback from other people and what they thought was important. So, can the people who find Libvirt and LibLXC integration to be valuable, can they put their names on the Etherpad so I can get a sense of how many people are important?
He's asked for people who are interested in the Libvirt LXC integration, so Libvirt having LXC support. Put your names in the Etherpad so he knows who you are.
When it's back on,
He already knows who I am.
try to fill out the page if it has.
The server's there, it's just your browser.
Yeah, the rest of us are in.
Refresh.
Okay.
There we go. It's just good.
Strategies check.
What?
Strategy.
Yes, please.
Okay, that looks like more than I thought it was.
Can also add me to the list. I'm not sure I'm going to have any time to work on that.
Now, who wrote down the audit virtualization?
Oh, I did.
And what
Sorry,
is that?
John.
John?
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know where
do you
that's
have,
I don't know where it's at all.
is anyone working on that? And what is the use, do you have a specific use case coming up, or it's just something that you see in
It's the same as syslog virtualization, right? So, for example, the majority of the LSMs use the audit framework, and so when we log messages through the audit framework, it's not going to syslog, it's going to audit daemon, and it's not virtualized. So it's the same thing as syslog. Kernel output. And I haven't looked at it recently, so I'm not sure where it's at. I just know it's been discussed some in the past.
Because I see them as pretty different, and maybe I'm thinking about it wrongly, but it seems to me that the audit is mainly for LSM type of violations. And the LSM is not containerized and may never be, because there are objections from the LSM committee on that. So the idea there is that no matter what container you're in, you've got the mandatory access control being truly mandatory and system-wide, and so that wouldn't change. Whereas with syslog, it happens to be quite a bit that I'm testing out a bug, like in a, I want to see the authorization violations inside a container, because I'm just testing a bug on an elusive or something, and then it actually is hard to find where the actual error went.
Yeah.
So,
Audit does more than just LSM stuff.
Yes, it does. The audit does a lot more than just LSM stuff. You could trace files with it in the audit events. So yeah, the LSMs use it, but it's much more than just the LSM.
okay, do you have an idea how you would tag the audit messages?
I don't.
You want them all sent to the host, but just tagged per container, or do you want them sent to the container?
I would like. I mean, for me, I would like to be able to see the option of putting some stuff to the container, but that's just me. And I'm not going to commit to the work this cycle, so I think it's pretty low priority. But it's just something to add to the list of things that we were discussing. So I put it by the syslog stuff because it's kind of like the syslog stuff to me.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Anyone have anything else?
At the risk of sidetracking the conversation, is anybody aware of any issues that would cause this not to work on ARM?
Not to work on ARM, no. It should be working on ARM.
Okay. I haven't tested it yet, we're going to, but
I mean, obviously you need testing to verify, but there's nothing in LXC itself that is really hardware architecture specific.
okay.
Maybe except some the network cards. Because there are some network driver that are dropping the packets when the MAC address is not the same as the network card. So
right, but that
when
can affect not just ARM.
Can be related to the ARM network driver.
Okay.
That's a bug in a driver.
No, it's not a bug. Sometimes they implement that for security.
Oh. Okay. That could be one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was at the OpenStack Summit. I discussed with some guy implementing database as a service. And they were using OpenVZ mainly because it supported live migration. And there seems to be some interest for LXC to support live migration. I wanted to know if anybody knew where the plan is.
It's on the list. It's on the blueprint.
Live migration is going to require quite a few kernel patches still. Well,
in that cluster, in the cluster HA cluster stuff, well, there's a current discussion on on which they're refining resource agent to do live migration within LXC guests.
right.
Within two HA machines.
I honestly don't see it happening going upstream this cycle. And if the live migration packages don't go upstream, the kernel team's not going to pull those ones in. There's too much.
And to be honest, if they don't go upstream this cycle, I suspect that it's basically done for. The one problem we're having right now is there's really very few, there seems to be very little interest out on the list. One guy in the past few months seems to have actually tried testing it. And just started a few days ago with without more people expressing their interest in testing, I think the effort is dead. So if it's something that you want or need, it's important to get involved right now with it. The first bit of it may be an uphill battle because at this point, the developers of it are pretty disheartened and have pretty much given up on upstreaming it themselves. So this isn't something you can say, let's wait until it happens. At this point, you have to put some work into making it happen. I'm not going to code it yourself, but you have to express interest in, yeah, do some testing. Did I just squash someone's dreams?
So, anything else? Anybody have anything else?
Going once, going twice.
All right, we're going to call it a wrap. Thanks, Serge.
Thank you.